My wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
No. It's Ishcon week. We have a better theme for this. Sent to us by the Purple Gang Gang.
Yo, it's the Euro Legions podcast. Tune in, stay a while with John on the sound. Yeah, he's mixing with style. Malcolm, smooth voice like silk on the breeze. Rich in the corner, loving purple spreadsheets with ease. Euro Legions, yeah, we're taking the crown. John, Malcolm and Rich, best trio in town. Sound so crisp, voices smooth and tight. Tune in every week with a podcast in flight.
So, there you go. On that very weird note, welcome to episode 77 of the Euro Legions podcast. And it's the best time of the year when these times of the year come up. It's a new wave, just before a new wave. That anticipation that it could be actually anything. It could actually be something you want, you know, rather than just this moaning afterwards that, oh, why didn't we get this or that? So
I can't believe
so
they
we're
didn't
going
give
to
us long
indulge that.
enough to get it the month.
Yeah, the pre-order window was only 6 paychecks worth. So it is, as we said, the Harrow zone. It is the Harrow zone, so it is a new Oxcrewe Wave 2 Cosmic Legions. So that's why you see Mal smiling. And
I was going to
you
say,
see Rich smiling because we got some new stuff. We got some new stuff in an in-stock sale, so we'll talk about that as well. Got some new skeleton, exciting. We'll talk a little bit about that. A bare bones skeleton, which is kind of a little prelude to the Necronominous wave, which we should have by the end of the year, I believe, at this stage. So that's maybe been pushed out a little bit to what we expected, but you know, that'll be a nice maybe post-Christmas. Always nice to get those drops in January, isn't it? When you have no money.
Definitely.
Stuff you paid for.
We've got to get it before Legions Con, surely.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure we will this year.
I don't think so now. Judging by the updates.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't go there with those hopes. Just be happily surprised if we do. But I think it's going to be more like end of year, judging by what's on the website at the moment. So. But apparently it is in production. But they still have some figures that they're working out kinks on, and they're running production on obviously the ones that they can go ahead with, so that everything can kind of move as soon as it moves. But Rich, you were missing the last few episodes, so maybe you can fill the listeners in on what happened and how we.
Yeah, it's a tale of woe. But basically, I just got really fed up of you two. Just like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. I'm taking 2 weeks off. Bollocks to you.
I must do that. There'd be no podcast.
Yeah,
Can you imagine? John's not available, Rich. Shall we carry? Nah, let's not bother this week.
No, it was the day that my daughter has deemed the worst birthday party ever. So we went.
You're welcome, daughter.
We went to a swimming pool that had water slides and all that sort of stuff. And I was walking to the first slide and I said, "Oh, the floor's a bit slippy." You know, looking at the tiles, there's like no grip on the tiles at all. It's like, that's fine. Just walk slowly. Made it to the slide. Went down the slide. All good. Come off the slide. Just stood there going, right, which is the shortest way to get back there, because this floor is a bit slippy. Put 1 foot forward. Foot went from me. I upside down landed right on my head. Knocked myself out cold. Next thing I remember is I'm trying to lift my head up, and I can't, and I literally can't lift it up. It feels so heavy. It's like, oh, this isn't good.
Oh my God.
And then rolled myself onto all fours, and was like, oh, something's not right here. Why is my head? I put my hands to the back of my head, pulled it back, and it was just covered in blood. It was like absolutely matted in blood. It was like, okay. At which point I hear my daughter crying because she's come down the slide behind me, so is seeing the aftermath of this. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm bleeding a lot here. I've no idea what's going on.
Crime scene, basically.
But I'm shouting to her going, I'm okay, don't worry, I'm okay, don't worry. You know, well, my blood going all. She thought I was throwing up blood, so she got really distressed. And I was like, I'm fine, don't worry. At which point the staff arrived. And the staff were brilliant. I mean, the place is a death trap, but the staff were great. They were extremely helpful. There's a 16-year-old called Levi, who like put a support thing on the back of my head. Sorry, I'm slightly out of sync. This is weird. like a bandage in the back of my head, got me into the recovery position sort of thing. Meanwhile, I'm lying there looking as the pool of blood just keeps spreading wider and wider, because it's like water on the floor as well. So obviously, head bleeds a lot anyway. Water makes it spread. So I mean, it's an abattoir at this point. There's just blood everywhere. And then this guy comes over and he's like, "Oh, hi, I'm a paramedic. I'm just in the pool with my family. Do you need any help?" And they were all like, "Yes, please. Yes, please." So he does the, what's your name? What's the date? What are you here for? And then did a few cognitive tests. So like getting my fingers and going, "Can you push against me?" and all this sort of stuff. And he's like, "Okay, so I don't think there's any like traumatic brain injuries or anything, but and he sort of looked at him and he's like, "Yeah, you got a good old cut on the back of your head there." So at which point my wife, who'd been sitting in the viewing area, not seen any of this, but somebody gone out and said,
which is where you should have been.
Which is where I should have been in hindsight, yes. She comes in. So then I see the look on her face as she walks into the abattoir. And she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry." Well, thinking like, I hope I'm fine. I mean, the paramedic seems confident. So, okay, fingers crossed. So they get me onto my feet, get me into the first aid room. At which point the blood's eased off a little bit, but it's still pouring out. So they're like changing the bandage and all this sort of stuff. And then they ring an ambulance. And the ambulance people were like, "Oh yeah, it can be like minimum hour and a half, probably longer." At which point my wife just says to this paramedic, she's like, "Can I just take him to A&E myself?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, as soon as you stop the bleeding, take him, because, there's no brain injuries as far as I can tell. So she takes me to A&E. So I'm sat there it took a 3-hour A&E visit. Came out of A&E with 8 staples holding a 3.5-inch wound at the back of my head together.
We've seen these staples, listeners, and I'm not putting them on the screen in our YouTube because it's just not family viewing whatsoever.
Yeah, apologies if anyone's squeamish and has passed out during this story. But yeah, I left with 8 staples, but they put 11 in and had to pull 3 out because they didn't go in properly. And after they put the staples in, they were like, "Oh, do you want some pain medication?" They'd give me like gas and air, like try and distract me a little bit.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Do you want some pain medication?" I was like, "Bloody right, I want some pain medication."
Give me like I'll have all of it.
Super strong painkillers. Okay, that's fine. And then they're like, "Oh, the back of your head's a mess, though. We're going to need to wash your hair because it's just matted in blood, completely matted in blood. So we need to wash your hair." So I'm still like off it on painkillers and looking like Frankenstein's monster. So I get to this thing, sit down. She's like, "Okay, just pop your head back like you would if you were in a hairdresser's into the sink for me to wash it." And I was like, "When's the last time you think I went to the hairdresser's?" Seriously. Which she just thought was hilarious.
These things in the 80s?
Yeah. Yeah, so then they sent me on my way, and then the next day I had like just concussion symptoms for a few days, so I was off work for this was on Saturday, so obviously Sunday wasn't working anyway. Then was off work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Finally felt well enough to work on Thursday, sort of thing. Obviously couldn't podcast with you guys. I'm still feeling so rough the following week. It's like, no, I'm just going to give myself another week off. So so all in all, the worst birthday party ever.
Yeah.
I'm sure all the people there hated me too because they had to close all the slides because I was bleeding out on the floor in front of the slides. Yeah. So so I'd have been really popular with everyone else.
They need to sort out their, put in some of these kind of rubberized
floors,
kind of floor.
Yes, well, when we got to the accident and I keep saying A&E, American listeners, I'm talking about the accident and emergency department. The lady was like, "What have you done?" And I felt like going, "The bandage on my head. What the do you think I've done?" But I resisted at that point. It's like, no, this is fine. These people are here to help me. So I was like, "Oh, I slipped at the water park." And she's like, "Oh, that place? Oh, we get people in all the time from there. It's a death trap." I was like, "Oh, brilliant. Great. Okay." So they're filling up your A&E departments then. And turns out the manager had said to my wife, "Oh yeah, we had a little girl slip over and crack her head a couple of weeks ago here." It's just like sorted out.
Goodness.
Yeah, so that was really eventful. And then both my daughter and my wife both then came down with COVID 2 days later. So I was stuck in a different room to the two of them. Yeah, having to take them food and all this sort of stuff while not being able to rest the back of my head on anything because I had staples sticking out of my head, which were there for a week and a half. So yeah, but it was all right. I went to finally had them out and walked into the nurse's room to get them taken out in the local doctor's. And she was like, "I thought you were having staples out." And I was like, "I am." And she had the back of my head. She's like, "Oh, it's normally people who had them in the hips or something." There's normally like 50. There's normally like 50 to take out. You've only got what? 8? I was like, yeah, there's 8. It's not too many. She's like, oh, great. She's like, I find this really therapeutic. And it's not. Yeah, she's like, I find this really therapeutic pulling these things out. As she gets the equivalent of what is an office staple remover out to take these things. The hospital in Wales had actually given me my own one in a sealed plastic bag because they didn't trust the English NHS to have one. So I gave them to that, so they got a spare one down there now. So she's pinging these things out, having assured me it wouldn't hurt. And I'm like, ow, ow, ow. And I'm thinking, well, it's not as painful as it went in. That's something. But it's like, Jesus Christ on a bike.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I'm back.
So when you see Rich at Legion's Con, just run around the back of him and you'll see some battle damage.
Yeah, there's going to be a scar. The nurse reckons it wouldn't be too big a scar. I am not convinced at the moment, I have to admit, but we'll see.
I'm telling you what, it'd be bloody amazing if there's no scar after what I've seen.
Yeah. One of my colleagues,
even from the staples.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, one of my colleagues was laughing at me today. She came up and stood behind me while I was sat down, and she's like, "Oh, I can see all the holes where the staples are in your head. Ah, they're scabbing too." I was like, "Oh, I guess that's funny. Okay."
Yeah, that's not funny. It's funny now, but it's not funny at work.
Yeah. Yes. So so that's why I've been missing for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I think that was a good excuse. You're not going to get fired for that sort of behavior. That's
just
the genuine reason. That won't go on your record as a faux pas.
No, when I finally made it into the office, first day in, I had a little plaster on it, sort of thing, still. And then the next day I was in, the plaster had come off, and so there's no staples. Plaster had come off. And somebody went, "Can I see what the staples looked like?" And I was like, "Yeah," brought up a picture. And he's like, "Oh, cool, all right, yeah." And then a couple of people said, "Oh, can we see it?" And I was like, "You sure? It's quite gory, and you guys have seen it, so you know what it's like."
Yeah.
So I showed them the picture. People were like, I was like, "Oh my God, okay."
Yeah. Rich is responsible for more people having to leave the office.
Yes.
Oh my God. So yeah, it's an interesting story. It's definitely something that was worth telling on the podcast because these things happen, and that's how accident prone Rich is. It's like he said to me on 2 or 3 days ago. I said, "Oh, why don't we do a little post or something, to promote this episode, the predictions?" And I said, "No way, judging by how accident prone you are, we need this in the can before we do any promoting."
In my defense, I am accident prone, but to quote the receptionist at the hospital, that place is a death trap.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah. But the fact that, I would have been sat outside, Mal would have been sat outside, on his phone, passing the time, scrolling through pictures on the Cabal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm accident prone but ballsy. It's a bad combination.
Yeah. Now I do still go on the roller coasters and stuff if I go with the kids to a theme park, but yeah, I think I draw the line at a water park. Definitely.
The annoying thing is the one slide I went on, which apparently was the slowest of the 3. Member of staff told me while I was lying there bleeding. It was brilliant. I was like, "Oh God damn it! Okay, thanks for that." I can't go near the others. Yeah.
What were they? Kind of these tube things, or were they kind of big open?
Yeah, completely.
Tube ones?
No, completely sealed tube things. Yeah.
And my wife won't go in them. She's claustrophobic for them.
Yes. Yeah, my wife's the same. She's like, "Nope, not happening."
Yeah, even the kind of basic one that you might see at a kind of local pool or whatever. No way. Rightio, shall we get into a few more things? Our friend of the show, David Williams, he is designing the pins for Legion's Con. The first 2 we've seen anyway, the Mythic ones. I put them up here on screen for our YouTube viewers. So subscribe and follow and like and all that stuff if you're looking on there. And I think this week Rich's thing seems to be slightly out of sync, so don't blame me. I'll try and sync it up, but I don't think it'll work. It's just lagging for some reason on StreamYard. StreamYard has been a bit dodgy recently, and they have new owners, so I'm a little bit worried for the future. But there will be other platforms, so let's see how it goes.
If anything, John, this just makes me unpredictable. What's he going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Is he going to crack a funny joke, and then 10 seconds later we'll see him falling about laughing at his own joke?
Yeah. Well, I won't be looking at you for reactions to my jokes, because there'll be a delay or something. So anyway, Dave Williams has done 2 designs so far that we've seen for the pins. So it's for the Chris and George Legion's Con figures. Do you remember what they were called? There's the Gaspar.
Was it Gaspar the Unamused, I think,
yes,
or something like that?
And Gorage the Unpredictable. So this is the Gaspar one, then this one, and the one with the antlers. So that's the Vorthog head is the Gaspar, and the one with the antlers is the George, which is the... No, sorry, is the Chris.
No, that's the Chris one. Yeah, the antlers, yeah.
Yeah, the Unpredictable. So, yeah, very cool designs. I think I saw him post somewhere that he might... or maybe hint that these mightn't be the last ones we see for Legion's Con from him. So I think he's probably got the gig for them all. Let's just assume that and be proven wrong if so. But they're really nice designs, especially for pins. Really good. Love the shading on
these designs,
the light.
He's such a good line drawer. These are really fabulous designs.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Got himself a gig there.
Yeah, he does indeed, yeah. Mal, we don't get his opinion because he is dropped off for a sec, so maybe we'll wait for a sec and see if Mal comes back.
I'm back.
There he is. Hey, Mal.
Are you remote controlling him, John? You literally said that and then you appeared instantly.
You all right now?
I may have forgotten to turn the power on. Didn't realise the battery was so low. But,
so Mal is we won't blame StreamYard for that one. That's
no,
Mal, the IT guy, for forgetting to plug it in.
Yeah.
Anyway, any opinions on these badges other than they're awesome? Anything further?
Yeah, I think they look great. I'll try and grab some at Legion's Con, but it was a bit difficult last year, wasn't it?
So
might be
my 2 Legion's Cons so far, the last 2 ones. So there was the Furious 4 ones. They were just gone because the queue was. You couldn't really stand in the queue for 5 hours just for pins. That queue didn't work. And then last year the queues were fine, but they hadn't got delivery of the pins, so you had to buy them from Legion's shop.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
That was that wasn't great for international because the shipping was nearly half the price of the pins. So I decided to skip on them. So hopefully this year they'll have the pins and they won't be so difficult to get. I think if they have as much as they seem to have had for the this year's pins or the most recent year's pins, then we should be able to get them. Because I don't think
with the 2 characters.
Sorry, Rich. Yeah.
I was just going to say, sorry, John. I was going to say with the 2 characters they've got. I think if you do get the pins, I don't collect the pins, but if you guys do, one on each shoulder. Like a little devil and a little angel. And it's like George, sensible angel, Chris, the crazy little devil. And it's like, that's how you have to wear the pins.
That's a good tactic, actually. And the cosmic ones, I love the cosmic, especially. I'm really, these Legion's Con figures are really growing on me. I think straight from the bat, liked the cosmic ones, but these other ones, the mythic ones, are growing on me for sure. And the Gorge one, which I was probably least enthusiastic about, now that his colour scheme kind of matches in with the heavy gunner. To see things there that, could be swapped through. And just you can do a bit more with those parts. And then we have parts from Bardrick and Krotos that, if you have one of those or an extra one of those lying around. So yeah, it could be doing a lot. So anyway, well done, David. We will obviously, if there is the cosmic pins to show in the next week or 2, we will certainly be talking about them. And I believe he hinted in a reply to someone on the post that he might be involved in the other 2. I guess he would be. So that would be fun. And then we had this little fella revealed. Skeleton Legion Builder 2. So we got a kind of cryptic post with just the Horseman logo and a slight little greenish black background saying something cool is coming for celebrating the 25th anniversary of Four Horsemen Studios. And this is what was revealed along with an in-stock sale that we'll talk about next. But let's talk about this guy first. So Skeleton Legion Builder 2. Very cool. Special Store Horseman release in July 2024 to celebrate 25th anniversary of Horsemen and the 10-year anniversary, of course, of Mythic Legions. And that's a bare bones skeleton, not as in bare bones, as in you don't get much with it, as in it's just all bone. Just the way she likes it. And you get a sword and a shield and a spear. You don't get additional heads, but the head you get is the articulated jaw skeleton head, so that's the best one for this type of figure, I think. So really cool. We'll come back to the bio in a sec, Mal. Let's just have a quick look at the pictures. So you see him there with his spear. The shield is weathered in that kind of patina weathering. So that's pretty sweet. And you get a nice little strap and a sword as well. You get a couple of hands with them. You also, and they don't photograph them here, and I wonder if that was a kind of little surprise, you also get like a pair of these pointing skeleton bone fingers. I've seen a couple of people get them, and I watched Jesse Arnold today do an unboxing video of it on their channel, the Just Shelbit channel. I think it was a members only video. And he said, he showed the little baggie and the pointed hands were in it. So that's really cool because they really give a lot of posing kind of personality to the figure.
Well, Jeremy said that quite often when they get sent, the skeleton figures for like test shots and things from the factory, they always seem to give them the pointing fingers. So
the finger guns.
A bit of a
Okay, well, cool. Maybe that mold is mold is just quite in quite a commonly used mold. I don't know, with other parts. So that's maybe why.
Pointing finger is a great idea. I'm going to have to use one of these now as some sort of champion. Just pointing to somebody in the other ranks, going, "Bring it, you."
Like when we got the hands packs first, it just adds so much to the figures. And we got the bare human hands and the goblin hands and the orc hands. They all added a lot more. And obviously you get the leather gloved hands, but with the different types of hand expressions, for want of a better way of putting it. This is a cool little kind of collage photo of a couple of photos from Trevor's little pack that he had on the site. And this is their collage. It's on the site. So just a lot of different poses of the skeleton, showing what you can do. I think we're going to have fun with this guy. I would say he's the Valiant Knight of the skeletons so far. We've got the Valiant Knight now. There's a little bit of extra possibility in the articulation. There isn't any more articulation points, I don't think, but there is more movement in the articulation. So it's pretty cool.
Sorry, just to lower the tone for a second, Dennis. It's probably because I watched Deadpool and Wolverine last night. But the skeleton on the right of the screen, as we're looking at it, looks like he's about to shove his spear where the sun doesn't shine on the one that's crouching.
He is, isn't he? Yeah.
Whatever they enjoy, we are not into judgment.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a tagline, Mal. The Euro Legions podcast. They don't kink shame.
Whatever they enjoy. So anyway, there you go. You see the articulation there, and of course, Mr. Trevor Williams with his environment photo.
That's
if this doesn't sell you on a skeleton figure, you don't want it.
For sure.
These were quite popular, sold out in a couple of hours. The Horseman's guess was that the figure would last about 24 hours. It lasted probably 4 of those 24, I think, maybe. Someone will come on now and say, no, it was only 2 and I missed it and blah, blah, blah. But
I think it was literally 2.
2, okay, 2.
Which is still plenty of time for anybody that wanted it to get it. Anybody.
And 2 is plenty
up as well.
Yeah, 2 is plenty in terms of if you were there at the start and you really wanted it. I was in the middle of a traffic jam on the highway looking for because I was driving, on the way back from my holidays, looking for a petrol stop or whatever, a rest stop. And luckily found one about 10 minutes before 5 my time, which was when it was going up 5, and managed to order them. So, otherwise my wife would have been trying to order them and that would have been a tough one.
I was in the pub and managed to order it, so no one's got any excuse.
Yeah, you were about 4 pints deep, weren't you?
Yeah.
Was it fantasy football draft or something?
It was, yeah. An extremely good evening with extremely strong beer.
Because I had my phone up as the sat nav and I just kept seeing these messages coming through. So lasted long enough, because the site's not buggy either. It's not like the old days where you have to sit there and kind of wait 2 hours for your order to go through. This, you literally could go on and order, and it was limited to 4. So it's not like somebody could get their mate that doesn't collect down the road to order 4 as well. But that's a bit of work. So if they want to do that, we could all do that, I think, to an extent. So this buck will be available in slightly different shading on the bone. They're more what they call standard bone colour. This is a lighter bone colour, but still not totally light, because from what I've seen of the in-hand pictures, it only looks really light when it's beside the other skeleton, the maxillaris. This actually looks probably like bone colour you might paint a custom figure with a black wash, over a kind of an off-white. So really nice figure. And then we had the big sale, which was obviously that 26th of July. And there was a lot of stuff up there. They had Skullman as well, standard Skullman. So that was limited to 1 per. So you had already got the exclusive version, Mal, I think, of the Skullman. So
I had, yes.
So you didn't order a second one?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, because my exclusive one is in box and not being removed from that box.
Okay, so you're gonna.
So I wanted one to display. Yeah.
Perfect. Demistros was there again. That I got to him just because it's such a great base for doing customs, and the cape is spectacular as well. It's worth the price of it alone. And then you had all the Legion builders, the Walters. You had a couple of Alithia figures, the horses basically, and the centaur. You had the deluxe Legion builder wave. And Phobos as well from Alithia, as well as... no, sorry, that's Boreas, isn't it?
Yes, Boreas is, Alithia.
Yeah.
Not Alithia.
Skateboard decks.
All stars.
Not my thing, but if it is your thing, absolutely awesome for you. They had a couple of all-in narrators in box. So these are obviously people maybe that or that they ordered a couple of extra maybe, and either came back undelivered, or I don't know how it works, but maybe they have a few extra all-ins just for themselves. They're gone. That was a great opportunity, but they went very quickly. I think they were gone in 60 seconds or 30 seconds jobby. So, but I'm sure there's a small pool of people that were in for that, and some people definitely got happy for it. All Stars 4, so that's the one with the Forest Troll, the Motu tributes, the Bryphytus and the Mephitor, Scaphoid, Owain, Tibius and Vetus. That was still there the other day. I think it's probably still there now. So good deal on there. All Stars 5 as well, 5 plus they called it, but it's All Stars 5. Some great figures in there. Doban and Salernian Guard, the Heads Pack, all great figures. Swig, but they had Swig on his own as well, I think. Reinforcements all-ins as well, that's a great deal. And a couple of limited all-ins on Alithia as well, which is also Arthur's older, but Alithia is another one where there's a few figures that are hard to get these days. So I think there was a great opportunity for people there, and still is. I guess they'll probably disappear from the website this week. Before
they're going to go down
Cosmic
before
goes up.
Yeah,
that makes sense, doesn't it?
Although
it does, yeah. The All Stars 5 plus all in is still available if anybody wants that as well.
But Jeremy did point out, and I don't know if you noticed when you were on there though, that now they actually have different areas on the website.
Oh,
so
he
they've got
did.
in stock And they've got a pre-order section, or they've got shop everything. So they may well keep, it may be for situations like this where they want to keep the in-stock sale up and do the pre-order for people.
Wow. So this is what they still have up. This is Wednesday, the 31st of July. So still have All Stars 5+ all in. Apharius, Boreas, all the Deluxe Legion builders are still there. The Mistros is still there. Gold, all the reinforcements. So those Legion builders, reinforcements too. And all the Legion's Con exclusives from last year. So Vorgus and the 2 Walters. And a Swigs. So the 1,000 Swigs. Still can't get rid of him. And the Ogre Scale accessory pack. So it's without the Ogre. So maybe not interesting if you don't have the Ogre. But could be pretty good as well. If you just want that shield or something like that. And, you could trade the parts with some other people, or you could use them on another ogre, like the green ogre. That's still up there. So, yeah, pretty good. Right. Anything else news-wise? No? Or shall we go into the main part of the show, the Cosmic Legions? We all good with that?
Go for it. Can I just apologise before we do that to anybody watching, that I look like Magnum PI with my shirt undone so wide.
It's okay.
It's 83 degrees here today, which for the UK is beeping warm. So I'm struggling to stay cool. So apologies, but you have to stare at my chest.
We don't generally have aircon either, do we? And we have brick buildings rather than.
Is the heat whacking up your mic as well, or is that just you?
That's probably me.
Okay, just clarifying. Right. So I will play the little transition into the next part, and for the listeners, there will also be the story, the Qorgonox 7024 or 70324, the most recent one that Jeremy put up. And then we will talk about our predictions. Qorgonox Log Entry 703.24. The camp is so quiet, and yet so much is happening. Orvar regained consciousness shortly after the others left, and it appears that he will be fine. That is the good news. But in a somewhat distressing turn of events, once Orvar could speak, he informed us that it was not Thraxians who had attacked him and Thraia. It was actually a group of what he described as wasteland nomads in tusk gear. We now believe that Kern Ray lied to us, which means that Belloc and Cog willingly went away with the group that attacked our friends and abducted Thraia. We are obviously very concerned about this information, but Ularia pointed out that they did return Orvar to us. They could have left him for dead and blamed it on Thraxians, but they brought him back to our camp. If their intentions were genuinely malicious, why would they spare his life? This gives us hope that our friends have a chance of returning to us soon. Ularia instructed me to tune my instruments to search for nearby transmissions, hoping that we could intercept something from the strangers. We had seen a rudimentary comm setup on their rover, along with some other gear, so Ilaria guessed that they may be using the comm box to communicate with others in their group. For the past few clicks, I've been alternating between broadcasting our distress signal outside of planet Traxon and scanning terrestrial frequencies to try and learn something about the strangers. Finally, I got something. It was a coded message, but it was a basic cipher, and I translated it pretty quickly. The message read,
"Target acquired. One other guest on board. Rover is loaded and on the way. Harrow zone entry soon. Hostiles anticipated. Support requested."
A short time later, a reply came across.
"Message received. First group has returned. Science officer is secured. Hostiles confirmed across the Harrow zone. Be ready."
The final message that I intercepted read,
"Hunters engaged. Pursuing us now. Hylor and Jobra taking defensive measures. Guests are also helping fight back. We underestimated the numbers of hunters. Support requested immediately."
We are not sure what to make of these messages. The Harrow zone they refer to is the name that the strangers used for a stretch of wasteland that they said runs from the area where our camp is located to where their settlement is on the northern side of Thraxon. We know that is where they were headed in their rover, but these messages seem to state that they have been attacked along the way, which has added to our fear and uncertainty over our friend's safety. Orvar suggested that we should follow them, but he is really in no condition to go anywhere, and Ilaria shut down his suggestion immediately by reminding him that we need to continue trying to make a connection with XR3 to arrange for a rescue. He began to argue his point, but then a response came in our signal. The reply to our distress signal was garbled, but less so than our previous reply. Ilaria instructed me to run a trace on the message, which I did. I discovered that the message is coming to us from a great distance, which means they are still far away from Thraxon, likely on the edge of the third or maybe even somewhere in the fifth. I was able to identify the associated designation of the responding frequency. Unfortunately, it is more bad news. The signal is coming from a Tusk vessel. I am just a comm officer for a crew of junkers, so I don't pay much mind to the dramas out there beyond my own job. But even I know that XR3 stays away from any kind of Tusk involvements. Word is that the Traders Union has been trying to bring A3 under their control for years, and they don't take too kindly to XR3 refusing those deals. I know it is a bit off topic for this log entry, and I will probably hear it from Velok when he returns and reads this, but I think it is somewhat relevant since the Traders Union vessel is the one answering our distress signal. I asked Ilaria if I should respond. It is a sign of how desperate we are that she gave me her approval. We have transmitted our coordinates to the Tusk vessel and asked them to come rescue us from Thraxon. Hopefully our friends will be safe in the Harrow zone, or wherever the strangers are bringing them, and they will be back at camp soon. In the meantime, we await the arrival of the Traders Union. We did receive another reply from our would-be rescuers, which simply stated,
"Confirmed. Coordinates received. Retrieval underway. Expected arrival in ±12 cycles."
and now we wait.
Distress signal. XR3 vessel designation Qorgonox. Awaiting incoming assistance. Current location equals Thraxon. Current status equals 6 surviving crew members, split across multiple locations. Unsure of current safety status. Native contact made. Multiple species. Comm band reply received. Evacuation imminent.
The Harrow Zone. That does sound like a scary place, doesn't it? Yeah,
It does.
So we had Oxcrewe Book 2, The Harrow Zone. So that's this upcoming Saturday, 8 p.m. EST. That's two in the morning for me. I think 1 in the morning for you guys.
Yeah.
So we did our little kind of watch along audio thing through Discord the last time. We'll try and do that again, but no guarantees because I am out all day Saturday at a christening, and I don't know how that will go. But my wife is the godmother, so gonna have to stick around for most of it. How I'll be at 2 in the morning is another thing. I don't know, but Rich is planning to stay up. Mal is also, I think, in a similar boat to me.
Yes, I'm out for a mate's birthday, so a pretty good period of day drinking will have gone on before. And if it's warm, I might not have a choice. I might just zonk out.
Yeah, so we'll see. Obviously, we will publicise it to the Patreons if we're going to do it, or if it's working out, and it's easy enough to connect if that's the case. It was definitely fun the last time. I'd love to do it, but 2 in the morning is the last time. It was at midnight for me, so that was really doable. This time it's a little bit later. So anyway, the Harrow Zone. So we had the Oxcrewe Book 1, which was the kind of couple of main people from the ship. You got the Kern Ray, you got the Thraxian Scout, which gave Rich lizard excitement. So whatever that means. And obviously Kern Ray was fantastic. I think the highlight of that wave, even in hindsight. You got the boots, the kind of two vastly different heads, the kind of helmeted head and the unhelmeted head. You didn't really know what kind of a character she was until you had the unhelmeted head. And the scape back as well, this kind of dog, desert dog kind of spiky creature. So and obviously also terrain pack or kind of environment pack, accessories pack, dio pieces. So we're probably looking at more dio pieces this time. We got a little hint today, which was giving us a comms pack. Kind of, you could basically, I think that's one of the dio pieces. Now it could be throwing us off, but I think have you guys got dio pieces on your bingo list?
I have, including that one there.
Yes. They've got to. They sort of set the thing now, haven't they, with Cosmics, that it's like you're going to have dio pieces with it.
Yeah.
This next to it almost looks like it could be another type of gun we're going to get as well. So I wonder if there'll be a mix of weapons and camp bits.
Yeah, that could be. I initially thought that we would get a kind of a buggy thing, but I don't think we'd get a buggy thing and dio pieces in a wave. So now that we've got the kind of hint here, I'm more on the side of, okay, we're getting these dio pieces, which is awesome. I love the first ones. I think it's a good idea for them to build on the second ones, and then suddenly you've got 2 packs, and then you're like, whoa, I've got a lot of stuff here. I can really do a cool display without taking up 2 slots on the one wave, which I think would make people a bit
Yeah, no, I agree, John. I think in my head I was like, oh, it's a 25th anniversary. They're going to give us a rover. They're going to give us a little vehicle. Here we go.
Still do.
And then as soon as saw this, they could do, but I think I'm with you. I think because we've seen this now, that it's more likely they'll just go down the accessory. I don't mean that in a bad way, but they'll go down the accessory pack route.
I think a vehicle would probably have to be in place of a couple of the figures if they were going to keep it a small wave. Then I think they're trying to go for smaller, affordable, in quotes, waves, aren't they, with the Cosmics? So.
I think so. Although this is the kind of main Cosmic wave. I think they're going to do one main one yearly and another smaller one. I think that's a good kind of cadence to be at. So, but yeah, I don't think they're going G-Con level with the Cosmic quite yet. I think that's going to be a while more.
No, not yet. No.
This little antenna piece on that looks like a piece that might be plug in, plug out, which then you could see further uses for.
Isn't it the bit that is on one of the figures in the
back
of the backpack?
Oh, maybe,
Kern Ray's got
yeah.
something.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I should have had that ready. But yeah, you could be right. It's Kern Ray, yeah.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of things that you kind of be looking out for when you see the wave being revealed, all the kind of new parts. And obviously, yeah, so the last Cosmic Wave was actually book 1. Okay, so that is quite a long time ago. It's pretty much a year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get the awesome poster as well for book 2 that we got alongside book 1. Because I really liked that, and I'd kind of like to have the display of all 3 once all 3 books are done. So
Yeah, that would be sweet. Yeah, here is the backpack on Kern Ray. You're dead right, Mal. It is the piece. Yeah, so still cool, but yeah, we have it up already. So Mal, anyway, what's your first on your bingo card list for this wave?
right. So I've been ridiculously excited about this, and as you know, I've been a little bit forensic and like printing things off and going over it with like brightening them up, and other people have brightened them up, but then I've brightened it up even more and drawn circles round bits, going, this must be this and this must be this. So I've got
Like this, is it?
on this, but yeah, but right. So I started mine with 2 obvious ones we're definitely going to get, because we got 2. I think 1 new name and 1 we'd been told before. And we got in the story that people will have just listened to. No, the first story, wasn't it? That we released last week. We get introduced to Threya, and we'd already previously, I'm sure, been introduced to Cog. So my first pick is we're getting Cog.
Okay.
We have to. He's such a central part of this story. Well, somewhat a central part into the story, in that he's who the Kern Ray and her cronies want. And up until today, I thought this was the guy in the cage. I didn't know how, and it didn't quite fit with my thinking of what he was going to look like. Oh, you see, nothing. It's never simple, is it? Because I still think that in the cage looks a little bit like it could be slog shaped. But I don't think it's Cog anymore. So I don't think
I think it's a different colour escape pack.
I don't think it's a skate back.
That was my feeling, John. Yeah, when I saw the head at the top, it was like it's a different colour skate back.
Without going too much into what we talk about, well, what I've got later on, I think it's something wearing skate back bits because of stuff
but I
that
think
they've revealed.
I thought this kind of little kind of piece there below the head, going kind of horizontally, was part of the figure, but now I think it is part of the
think
cage.
it might be in a cage.
Yeah.
You could be right there. Anyway, Cog, I think. Let's go back to Cog. I think Cog is going to be either the same race as Slog, but healthy, or at least on the Slog body. And my thinking there is, it mentions he's big and he's got a big head. And actually, if you look at that Slog body, there's aspects of it that are very similar to the Oxcrewe armour, such as like the canisters on the chest, and there's those plug-in bits. So I think
I remember when we got some teases of the Oxcrewe that we actually thought the Slog body was being used for one of the figures, and it was actually Orvar, the dwarf scale, or more dwarf scale, I would say. That's a good shout. I had in my notes for Cog, I had that he's a mechanic, a big head, and stubborn. So, yeah.
I'd
fits the bill.
Yeah.
I've got half of what Mal's got here, and I'm not just saying that because I'm going after him.
No, you might as well.
But yeah, I think they'll use a slug body. It makes sense. As Mal said, you could easily get away with it as the same sort of spacesuit as the other ones I've got. Please, for the love of God, though, let it be a different species. If they just give us an unaffected slog, it's like, it's the vast universe and we're getting like 10 species repeated. Give us something new.
I do think he'll be different. I've just thought that he could be similar, but I don't think they'll use the same head again, because they mention he's got a big head. So I think we will get a new head on Cog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we get some
and if it's on the slug body, it's a disc thing, so I think it's quite easy to. Well, no, it's not easy, but it's just going to be one tooled piece to do. So a new tool, yes, but it shouldn't be hugely complex apart from the sculpting part that obviously Eric will have to do. You know, he's good at that. We know he's got that. He's got that in his locker.
And I'm presuming he's going to come along with some sort of like big space wrench or something like that, just to identify him as the mechanic sort of thing, or a little toolbox or something to take with him.
Yeah. Cool. I had
a question for you guys.
Yeah.
What colour do you think his suit's going to be? Because obviously we had 3 different colour suits for the first 3. So what colour are we thinking the suit's going to be?
Oh, give us yellow. Give us a really hard colour to paint. You know, yellow would be awesome.
I could see a mechanic suit being like a dirty yellow.
With greasy kind of weathering. You know, he's now. If he's a mechanic and he's like the size of Slug, how is he getting under the ship to kind of do the fiddly bits? You know,
they're lifting.
Just lift it up,
aren't they? Yeah. There'll be some.
And then who does it while he's lifting it up? Or is he just lifting one hand?
I think it might be a black suit. So if he gets oil spilt on him or whatever, it's you can't see it. He's like, no, I'm a brilliant mechanic. What are you on about? There's nothing oil on me.
Rich, I just thought of something. You like the little critters, so maybe he is a slug size, but he has a little critter dude to do all these little kind of small little.
That'd be fun.
Bits.
Maybe. So everybody thinks he's this big alien species. When no one's looking, the head pops up, and this little thing gets out and starts fiddling around and fixing stuff, and then jumps back in the bodysuit that it's wearing. That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Kind of like the Krang brain thing, but instead of a brain, it's just
would be superb.
A little kind of ferrety dude. Yeah. Right, a cog as well for me. Big head, stubborn. I could definitely see him like that. I definitely see him as being a different scale to Ularia and what's
he's
the guy's
definitely going to
name?
be bigger. He's definitely
just read him in the story today, and he's gone out of my head. I got him. Velok.
He's. I think if we're wrong about the slug body, he's definitely going to be on an ogre scale body. I think. I just get this feeling it's going to be that slug body.
We don't have. Oh well, the one we have in Cosmic is brute scale.
Pretty
his
much,
name.
Yeah.
So maybe not ogre scale, brute scale.
Canox full.
There we go.
I think he's going to be in some. I think they're going to want to put them into Oxcrewe type suits though, and they'd have to sculpt.
Could be.
Which they might do, but
but they can give a bit of variety. You know, there was a mention in the previous wave about some of them weren't ready in time to put on their suits, and kind of some of them were.
Oh, that's true.
That part of the story.
Maybe.
Don't you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah. Now you said it, I do. That rings a bell. Yeah.
So that could be something to bear in mind.
So we're thinking Cog is bollock naked now. Then this is what we're saying.
Like you just before this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. when they're talking about his big head, it was actually a distraction. That's not what they meant.
He probably has a big scar in his head like you as well.
Comes with a different type of tool.
Isn't this the one time you'd like to have hair, Rich?
It would have softened the blow, it has to be said.
Yeah, and you wouldn't, the scar would only appear maybe in another 10 or 15 years' time. And you'd be like, what was that again?
Well.
I can't remember.
If anyone asks me what the scar is from Legion's Con, I'm going to tell them I got hit in an axe during a Viking reenactment.
I'll just tell them episode 77, push those numbers. Right, so Mal, give us your next one.
So sticking with the crew, so there's a bit of an order to this. Freya, I think we're getting Freya, and I think she's probably going to be the sort of their nice, cheap to do figure where they basically use Ilaria's body, different colour, different head, and that's, I think she'll just be that.
Okay.
I think possible. I wonder if we'll get her in green for some reason. I think green could be the colour for another.
A lot of green this year so far.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's all I've got for her. I think she's going to be the, where they're able to sort of keep the cost down a bit and reuse some of what they've already done.
Well, Treya, for me, I think she's the science officer. So you could say, okay, she's going to be maybe on the engineer body, but I don't think so. I think she's going to be Vorga scale, using some of the Vorga parts. It may be in combination with some of the parts from the Tusk science officer. And that could be that white figure that we see here. I don't know. Maybe that's somebody else.
Yeah, it's got a gun though, so I'm thinking that's what
I'm positive I know who that is. So.
Okay, we get to that then. But that's my guess with her. Rich?
Well, Mal's clearly bugged my computer because his suggestions are very similar to mine on a lot of this.
Well, I mean, we've got some hints here, so we do have a framework to work for.
Hints based on experience of what they've done before, isn't it? So.
Exactly. No, I agree with Mal. I think they'll just reuse the Ilaria suit.
Okay, you think? Okay.
Yeah. My hope is it'd be a different species. And
I think that's a definite.
All hands raised to the gods with some sort of squid-like tentacles coming out of the hands. Then you haven't got much tooling. You've just got a different head and tentacle hands. That's all you have to tool.
I think we're going to get that kind of stuff for the other people, not for the, the ship's crew, I think.
But how good is a science officer if she's got a load of tentacles and she can
or
fix 7 instruments at once?
That was one of her.
Or how bad is she?
I just think if they use the Ilaria, it's not going to be sell as much for people, if it's just an Ilaria with a different head and a different paint scheme. I don't know.
I think people have to be a bit real though, and there will be a bunch of new tooling in this, no doubt. But it's like with Mythics for wave after wave after wave. There was so much reuse of parts and the night bodies especially. I think people have to be willing to expect a bit of that with Cosmic for a few waves as well.
When they go really big like they did with Oxcrewe with the bigger suits, they've got to recoup that money.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense to just use those again effectively for the next couple of waves. It's sensible business practice.
Okay, I've been told.
Sit back down, John. Sit back down.
Get down, you.
This is when he edits it. This is when he edits it, Mal. He just blanks us out. He's like, we've lost the sound of both of them. So we're going to go to what I said.
No, I'm not even editing your microphone bumps out of this one. Unless the noise reduction plugin gets them, they're going to be in there. Right, Mal.
I think.
Do you want? You know what, Rich? Let's let you go for the next one because you're moaning about getting one up here.
Can I give my suit colour first for Threya?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm going yellow for science officer.
Okay,
that would work.
So I'd be happy to get yellow on one of them. So if it's Threya, that sounds good. Are you ready then for your next one?
Can we keep a little bit of order, though? Can I push us towards talking about Kern's buddies next, please?
Sure.
They were next on my list, Mal. So yes,
okay.
That's fine.
Excellent.
So I think the figure in white in the picture, I'm going to randomly guess of the two names of her buddies. I'm going to go Highlaw.
All right.
Have we got is that the one on the left or the right?
Yeah, the left.
Okay,
I think the one on the right might be
here. So this is the first picture, and then the picture of the comms unit is the. I think they're the two same figures.
I think the one in the background of that picture is the one of the right of the picture with Kern and her two buddies. Because if you look, there's a white neck piece around there, and then there's a white loincloth.
I think that's soft goods, that loincloth.
Yeah, I do as well. And then there's this white fabric, this white like almost sash, which I think if you go back to the blurred photo, see around the neck,
Yeah.
There's this.
Yeah,
white,
you get that white
there's a
piece on
sash,
the
and then
figure
that
on the right here.
particularly
Yeah.
right in the middle, and the one on the
Yeah.
So I think that's that figure, with a slight difference that I'll talk about when we talk about them. Anyway, Rich, back to you.
So which picture do you want, Rich? This one?
For me, it's this one, yes.
Okay.
I'd completely and utterly forgotten about that other picture with the two of them pixelated out. So I feel a bit of a fool now, but here we go anyway. Yeah, so I think this is High Law. I think it looks like it's a blue skinned figure looking at the just underneath or just above rather, the sort of scarfy type thing. That's blue. So I'm getting a blue skinned alien of some sort. Hopefully not the same race as Tiger. I'm thinking a bit cyber techy, like Kern. And I was hoping, but looking at the weapon there, I'm not sure I'm going to get it. That would be like a weapon almost like constructed of parts of another weapon. So like this salvage different bits of different weapons and made this one sort of weapon they can use and have that sort of scavenger type feel to it. Yeah. So that was my thinking around High Law.
I actually thought that head was, no, of course, this just looking at this really blurred picture, but I actually thought it was like a helmet that's like kind of a TV shape almost with the kind of blue dot in the middle and this kind of white boxy outline. I don't think it is now that you've said it.
So interestingly, I think that's High Law too. But
John, he's copying my homework, John.
but
There is literally no, like, I've read the story a good few times
and there's
that it
no
was released
indication.
today. There is no indication of who's who, so you're just literally going on High Law or
I've
Jobra.
gone by
Jobara.
Jabara. Yeah, I've gone by. I think. So let me talk about High Law first. So if we go to the picture where it's got Kern and the two of them blurred. Sorry if you're listening, you'll have to try and find the photo. It's on the picture that was posted. It's the one where you get range sensor, distance, and it's got Kern in the middle with her head sort of circled clear. And I actually think they're doing there a little bit of deception to make scale less obvious. Because
Kern is definitely way closer than...
Well, I don't think she necessarily. I think it's just by doing that they've magnified her, so she's big.
Oh, right.
And her shoulders would be roughly where the circle starts. So I think High Law, who I think is on the right of this picture, is bigger, and I think possibly. So I should say, funnily enough, before they even said anything, I described these as being some sort of scavengers. Well, they've described them as wasteland nomads, haven't they, that use tusk parts, which is, funnily enough, where I was going with what I thought I could see. So I think this is possibly... It's either a 1.0, or I think you possibly got it right when you said it could be either a troll scale or even a brute scale, maybe. Because I think... that this picture, it's wearing they are wearing a helmet, and I think that's a Sphexian helmet that they're wearing because of the shape.
So that's
if you
the
look,
figure
it's
on
got
the right
dome.
here of that Kern Ray picture.
Yeah, which is and now I've seen the picture where it's clearly a soft goods cape type thing. It explains what the white is, because I don't think they'll have the mandibles in or the antenna. I think it will just be some version of the Sphexian helmet. And then, I mean, it's hard to tell. You can see a bit better in that other one. It looks like it's probably just bits of... It almost looks a bit similar in colour and outfit to Callian Shun, doesn't... Not Callian Shun. What's her name?
Ambira, Turkey lady. Oh, Zerian Spire. Okay.
Yeah, in colours, I mean.
Yeah.
But he mentions it'll be Tusk gear, so I'm guessing there's some Tusk armour in there. But I really think that's a Sphexian helmet. And I think it's going to be at least brute scale.
So then it would be the Sphexian prison guard, yeah.
Yeah, the prison guard helmet. Yeah. And that is quite oversized for.
Yeah.
So it would work on a bigger figure as well.
Maybe an alternate head then with this one?
Definitely. 2 heads.
I actually get, just overall for the wave, I get the feeling, now seeing this one kind of blurred or whatever, but with the soft goods, that they might actually use a good bit of soft goods here to try and bring variety to the looks while not having to do too many new parts.
I think so too.
I think that's definitely an option for them.
Well, Kern is so striking that to have people in the same group as her, they have to try it. They have to go that bit of extra mile, don't they, with that for
True,
it to work.
Yeah, they have to be these because she is the classic kind of wasteland, kind of sci-fi wasteland kind of character, or what you might think one would look like. Almost a kind of a Mad Max vibe off her, I get.
I love her. I can't wait. Can't wait to see what these other two look like either. I'm so excited by them.
Right. Yeah, I didn't have too much on these two. Stun sticks is what I took from the first story.
I think we'll get a few different weapons.
Yeah. Have we had stun sticks so far? We have, I think, had something like a stun stick.
I assume that's what they carry. Yeah.
So again, that Sphexian head, that maybe makes sense that they've scavenged those parts. Right, Mal, what's your next one?
So Jabara, who's on the left of this image, and I think if you look, she looks like she's either the same. I'm already saying it. Is either the same height as Kern, which means it's a 2.0 female, or it's a possibly. No, sorry. Which means, my initial thinking was it was 2.0, but actually thinking about it, I think it could either be, it's a 1.0, and I think it could be another 1.0 female. And it's really hard to tell but it looks like they're wearing a cape or a jacket that's, similar. So, because they've got a similar sort of shape, that curved shape to, although a bit bigger, a bit wider, as Callian. So maybe it's male. There you go. I'm going. It's a 2.0 male, a 1.0 male body. And there you go. But what? Again, it's going to be.
I initially thought it was a Sphexian with just the shape. Here on this blurred pic, but that could also be a cape. What did you have for this one, Rich?
So this is
lizard.
Me. For once, no, I don't automatically go for the lizard. It's a crab person. No. Again, because I completely forgot about that picture, although they are wearing what appears to be like a big cape or something like that. I want multi-limbs. I want a four-armed alien.
With
and that cape over the top of it, with a shape could cover that. Yeah.
You might be right there. You might have,
Do you think in this picture of the comms gear that this kind of image almost on the right is of that Jobara figure, or a different one, or is that just a mountainy background?
I think that's
in my head. It was just a mount. Yeah, it was just a mountain or something in the background.
Yeah.
For me, it could be like a Kragnar scale thing.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant high. The one that's in. When you said about Kragnar scale, I thought you meant, and then that's possibly, maybe it's the shape.
Yeah,
and
but it could actually just be the Dio as well.
And it could be one of the hostiles potentially. That is a big hulking brute sort of thing, which is why they're in trouble.
Well, I think we're going to get a different version. No, I'm not going to say that. Spoiler. Save that for next.
So multi-limbed, and my other request, and obviously it's too late, and they wouldn't listen to me anyway, but would be a face full of very old, very sharp teeth, rather. Sorry.
I think we're definitely getting a few of them in this wave.
Psychotic-looking alien sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be nice to get some. Like, I think I'd be happy with the new parts to be new heads. I know that's a bit basic, but I'd be happy with, because anyone can, especially on this type of a thing with the wasteland, they can just scavenge armor, whatever, weather it up, and even if it's a Tusk outfit, weathered up, and then stick an alien head on it. That can work, Right. Mal, what have you got next then?
So my thinking before any of today's reveals was that the next 3 to fill out the wave would more be creatures from the planet or the Harrow Zone, as well. I mean, I think we only heard it was Harrow Zone yesterday, did we? Or no, whenever they only mentioned it was the Harrow Zone. So I thought it'd be more creatures from the planet, and I thought we would either get another version of a Thraxian or a Skateback, another version of a Skateback. So I initially said we were going to get a Thraxian, but with what we've had today in terms of teases and I think we're getting the Harrow Zone Skateback.
Yeah, which is this guy here, I think.
See, I don't think... See, this is where I think that's one of the handlers of the... But we'll get on to them. And the reason he's got... Because I'm sure that's the colour of the original skate. No, I suppose it's more green, but that could be the lighting. Sorry, Trevor. Although that's
I mean,
anyway.
they have obviously digitally manipulated this picture so that it doesn't kind of give away too much.
I wonder if it's one of the handlers.
This is the original picture.
Yeah, if it's one of the handlers, it could be parts from other types of skateback, and they could keep and train and use Harrow Zone skatebacks as their pets. So I think that the Harrow Zone skateback will be different. It'll be very, very similar. Again, maybe just a different colour. But yeah, I think that could be one of the handlers, as I'll talk about in one of my next guesses.
Rich, what have you got next?
Yeah, so I mean, they're talking about Thraxian hunters, obviously. And although they said it wasn't the Thraxian hunters that captured them, they're going to be the hostiles, I'm guessing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar build and body type even to the original Thraxians, but maybe a different colour. And maybe with some sort of different style weapon as well.
So
yeah,
that's
I've got a different Thraxian, but yeah, with more kind of wastelandy stuff. So, maybe tattered cape, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, they've already done 2. Is it 2 heads they did for the Thraxian?
Yeah.
Or did they do 3?
Yeah.
2.
2.
Yeah. So would it be worth to sculpt another one? I'm not sure, but I think with a different paint scheme, that head has only been painted once, so I think they could do a different paint scheme to make it look quite different even with the same head. So yeah, I do think we'll get another Thraxian, slightly different build maybe.
So that's interesting, isn't it? Because you took the hunters to be Thraxian hunters. I took the hunters to be something completely different to anything we've heard of before.
That would be dream, but I'm kind of expecting a good bit of reuse here. So
a bit of reuse, yeah. And then with the addition of, what was it? The Escape Haven. I assume that sounded sort of a bit more... I mean, they obviously have some affiliation with the Skatebacks. So I took them as possibly being these hunter group. So it could be the Thraxians live at Escape Haven, of course. And they are connected, but I took it, as I say, I've taken it as being a completely different group. So,
yeah, exactly. So the Thraxian Scout is in the unaffiliated citizens of Cosmerium
at the moment.
Okay.
Well, we don't know, do we, until it's released. So.
And the Skateback has unclassified data does not apply currently, so he's probably in Escape Heaven. So I think we will get more from that faction. So this is a new faction that's just been added to the website. So there's another little tease. So I think we'll get it. Like, I just think it's obvious when you look at the tooling and the parts that we will get another Skateback, and whether they'll do it in a slightly different way, because I know that they did say that the Skateback parts were, that's kind of Goblin, kind of Uka compatible. So whether they'll do it on that kind of a build, but with the same head, which could look mental. And if you were to get that maybe before we got the skate back, it would be really like, whoa. But now it might look strange. I don't know. But they know what they're doing. So I'm not going to kind of prejudge it in that way.
I think in my head, with them being hunters, I could imagine them, and you guys may have said this, sorry, it is breaking badly in my head, but maybe riding a skate back. It's like that
would be cool.
It's like a hunting beast sort of thing. So, you know.
Yeah. So we might get some skate back kind of armor so that somebody could sit on one.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, but I definitely, I mean, does everyone think we will get a skate back?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think we'll get a different version, a different colour maybe.
Will we get it in that configuration, or do you think we get it slightly differently?
My thinking was it'd be very, very similar. It might have a few tweaks to make it the skate back from a different zone, because that very much fitted with the rocks and all that in where the camp was, didn't it, and all that. But or at least that's what they did with the Dio, was to try and make the. So I wonder if maybe it won't have the same amount of spikes. Maybe it'll have more spikes, or it might just be a repaint. I don't know.
Yeah, but that head on the skate back looks exactly like this kind of head in the cage here.
I just can't see it. Well, I mean, if
just look at the eyes. The eyes are identical. The eyes are identical. You know, you don't see the mouth here. It's just kind of blocked off. But isn't that an articulated jaw on the skate back?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I think it is, yeah.
We'll find out anyway.
Yeah, but this is the predictions episode.
I think you made a very you're right. You made a very good point about that. Actually, could be in it like another cage, and it's sticking its head out of the cage. I do think that's possibly that you could be spot on with that.
Yeah, I actually think I don't know what they are. I think it's just part of the Dio here. But the little things around the sea of the cosmic look like Ninja Turtle heads. But they're clearly not.
Or maybe it's a skate back pulling some sort of rudimentary chariot with a Thraxian hunter riding that.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm going on Ben Hur here, but you never know.
So what have we got left then? My last guess before today's lore, and I didn't go further into it, was a large rover vehicle of Tusk origins. So I'm going to predict that just in case that we get it. That's going to be my last prediction, and that's going to round out the wave. So you don't get any more figures, but you get the vehicle. And
I'd love that if they
that
did
would it. That would be a kind of a big whoa thing for people. And maybe I think it's worth them doing it.
Cage thing is maybe it's a little vehicle.
Yeah, maybe that is the back of the vehicle. Yeah, I'd love a gnarly vehicle like that, not some sort of Mars rover kind of jobby.
And if they did something like that, they could use that cage thing for a medieval type thing for mythics as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, you could use the gate piece. Yeah, yeah. So that's my last prediction. What have you guys got left?
So I was an hour over this. I sort of initially had gone Thraxian, but changed that today to the skate back. So I think the next two are just going to be two versions of those hunters from this Scape Haven. One of whom I have a sneaking suspicion could be some kind of beast handler, and the guy who wrangles the skatebacks for that group.
Oh, kind of Beastman whip. Yeah.
Well, part of me thinks that's. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I do see what you're saying. If it's in something and it's sticking its head out, that's the skate back. But I wondered if that guy in there was the handler or something. And scale wise, I actually thought he might be the same size as I've forgotten what his name is. The Goblin Uka.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I wondered if, and it's a bit deceptive because of the angle it's shot at. It looks like it's bigger than he is. So it could be. So I wonder if they could be creatures, these hunters, the size of Uka and more like Uka, perhaps. And then my it was like my final guess. Sorry, Rich. I'll just say that since they're linked. Just another. So maybe if one's a beast handler, the other one is a hunter or a. I don't know, archer or something, not necessarily an archer, but that kind of thing, another version of one of these hunters.
With the Mad Max 2 boomerang, little kid.
That would be cool. That would be very cool. I'd like that.
Right, Rich, give us the rest of your predictions there.
So the rover thing, like you, I'm going to tip my hat for that as well, although I think it's unlikely now. I'm going to hedge my bets on that picture that we had earlier today. So the big thing in the background on the right could either be a rock formation or it could be like an ogre scale Thraxian of some sort. And the only reason I'm thinking that is because of the I'm pointing my screen, you can't see it, but the little thin lines coming out.
Yeah.
As if it's some sort of, not appendage, but some sort of thing coming out of its shoulders or something like that. So
yeah.
I could see that maybe being a larger and part of the hunting party sort of thing. If they're going after big beasts, then they need a big member of that party sort of thing. So I think that could be an option. I don't think we're going to get it, but I'm going to mention this anyway because I mention it every time we talk about Cosmic. Robot Legion builders.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping if I say it enough times, maybe it'll sink in with the Horsemen.
I think we'll get them eventually one of the days.
Yeah, it's it's a cheap. If you do it with Legion builders, you just need the one color. It's, like a cheap way to get robots into the line, and then you've got all the limbs and that sort of stuff to use for cyborg characters and different setups and that sort of thing. The tiny aliens we've talked about already, so I won't mention those again. I think we're good on that. Yeah, I think that was everything for me. And I can't believe I forgot that photograph with them blurred out. Rookie. I'm going to blame the knock on the head.
It was probably around that time, so I think you have definitely got an excuse there. I did ask people. No, I didn't get many responses, but I don't think people like to put their neck on the line here. But we had a couple of responses to what other people in our Patreon think will be revealed. So Ben Kostanovich, I think we've covered a lot of this. A vehicle, he thinks, and probably the other crew members and maybe a different type of Thraxian. So I think he's probably going to get most of that. The vehicle is obviously the one that's a bit up in the air. Kevin Boots, I think he's got a very interesting one. So I could see the vehicle, Cog from the Oxcrewe, the two of Kern's crew, 2 or 3 natives to the planet, and then in inverted commas, PowerCon exclusives from the Harrow zone. One will be a Horde tribute and one a Buzz-Off tribute based on the David Williams design. And we've already spoken about David doing the pins, so now they have a relationship with that. So maybe they have a fan-designed PowerCon tribute, which is, if you have not seen it, last year David did a Buzz-Off tribute with cosmic parts that was amazing. So look that up. I think Dorkler owns it these days. He got it at Ishcon. So what do you think of that Motu angle?
It would be a good place to put it for sure.
Yeah. If we're going to get Motu tributes, it's going to be this. It's going to be in this wave or next year for the PowerCon next year.
Yeah.
That Mal is going to go to.
Hopefully, gotta say you for it first.
As soon as he gets that promotion. That doesn't quite exist yet, but might exist.
Yeah, don't think there's any more promotions for me.
And then Kevin also came back, and Jeremy Govia as well, saying more Dio pieces. Looks like we're going to get some comms gear. So yeah, I think we've covered that. Yeah, so that is that. So next week, obviously, we're going to talk about the reveal. So we're going to be a little bit more certain in that. Don't forget this fella, the heavy gunner, He's going to be released this weekend at Ishcon, and we're going to get a chance to get him in stock in September, which interesting to see what else would be in that in stock now that a lot of the stuff we maybe thought might be in the in stock, like the Skullman, is already been sold. So, and they have said for a lot of the stuff that's in this in stock, this is their last stock of that stock. So interesting. And then interesting to see what will be on the tables for Legion's Con as a result of all these in stock sales. So Heavy Gunner, I'm very excited to get that when it does come around. I can wait till September. I don't need to pay the Ishcon premium of somebody getting it for you and all that hassle. So, but enjoy them, the people that do get them. That's going to be awesome for you.
And also, I think with Heavy Gunner, the Anthony House-Eel gun attachment that he showed on
that
his
was
website, that will work really well with a Heavy Gunner.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and the Harrow zone. So I did look up the definition of Harrow. Do you want to hear that?
Yeah, go for it.
It's a cultivating tool set with spikes, teeth, and discs used primarily for breaking up and smoothing the soil, but also means to torment or to vex. So I think we're going for the latter bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I told my kid, "Oh, it's the Harrow zone," he's like, "What is the Harrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know it means bad stuff, harrowing." But how, it's always the kid when they ask you, to explain that, and you have to just use other words that mean the same thing. It doesn't quite work. So I end up looking up stuff just to see if there's something that makes it a bit easier. So that's the Harrow zone. So that's I think that gives you an idea of what. Hopefully the baddies in the Harrow zone are going to live up to that, and we're not going to be too harrowed about the whole thing.
Nicely done.
Yeah, so that's it. Maybe we'll have the watch along. Hopefully so. I think Rich is definitely going to be up, but I'm not sure about me and Mal. But we'll try and make it and try and put it together. Anything else for this week, guys? No? Good to have you back, Rich.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I wish my internet was better so I could actually have heard half the stuff you said, but...
Yeah, get on to your provider now. Give them a little... Tell them you're trying to watch the Olympics on your iPlayer and it's not working. Yeah, as you see. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. What did you say, John? I don't know. Let's leave it at that. All right.
I heard which I presume was iPlayer, and then it just froze.
There you go. Okay. Tough station for you tonight, Rich. It's not just the bump on your head. All right. Take it easy. Enjoy Oxcrewe Wave 2, the Harrow Zone.
Safe out there, everybody. Although this might be after the music's finished, who knows?